What up, homie? It is 2026. It's a brand new year. So let's get specific. Let's talk nitty gritty. We are going to talk about weight loss, calorie deficit, diet, and food tracking. So if you are not the general population, if you struggle with eating disorders, this is probably not the video with you. This will be my only disclaimer. Also, I am not a professional. Who am I? Why am I here telling you this? Because I have lost 50 pounds since February 2025. Here are my credentials. Back in February of 2025, I started with a calorie deficit and exercising, and I just didn't stop. And these are the results that I got. And along the way, I've learned a crap ton, and I share it here. I share workouts, and I'm sharing what I do and what has worked for me. No, I am not a professional. No, I haven't gone to school for any of this shit. I literally am just a girl on the internet who has learned a method and is applying it. I am 37 years old. I am a mom and a wife. I work from home, and this is my story and my journey, and I'm sharing it here with you. So with the start of a new year, I'm sure you are being flooded with a crap ton of information. Keto this, carnivore that, buy my supplement, buy my program. You can have a fat, juicy donk. You can have a size 2 0 waist. I'm sure it is all over your social media. New year, new me, yada, yada, yada. And while I, along with the rest of the world, feel like the new year is a wonderful place for a fresh start, you can draw a line in the sand at any time. At any time. It doesn't have to be the new year, but a new year is a great catalyst. So if that's you, if you are at the specific point where you are just tired of being overweight and aching and you are wanting longevity health, this is probably for you. I share my story on my channel here constantly, how my family and I moved basically across country. We've lived in the South our whole life, and we moved to Iowa. So huge difference in weather. Being that there are seasons here in the Midwest. 90% of the time, it is just hot down south. So first time in my life when we moved here over a year ago, I experienced a full-ass winter, gray days and all. And while the snow is beautiful and I absolutely love it, it does feel magical. When the winter comes, the gray days stay, and it basically looks slate gray outside all the time. All the time. And I have found that I resonate with a houseplant. And I need sunshine. Plain and simple. I just need sunshine. And so I started battling with seasonal depression. And, there's a lot going on in my life at the time. We had just made a big move. And, you hold your shit together for the family as a mom for as long as you can. And then when things get settled, I think my system just went from keep it together, and shoo, crash, along with a gray winter. And it was just a perfect recipe for disaster in my brain. So I needed endorphins, long story short. And so we found a gym close by. Convenience is king, tip number 1. And literally can jog to the gym if I want to. It is 5 minutes up the road. No, I'm not going to be doing that on 17-degree days. But the point is that if it were further away, less likely that I would get there. Okay. So started exercising daily for the endorphins. 30 minutes of rigorous exercise. And when I tell you I could feel it when the endorphins hit my system, I would be 30, 45 minutes into a workout and just tears would prick my eyes because, oh my God, I finally feel normal right now. And so that was my largest motivation. Truly, was just getting the endorphins. My other larger motivation was that I needed longevity health. 37 years old, things aren't going to get easier. weight loss isn't going to get easier. Lifting isn't going to get easier. Getting up and off the floor isn't going to be easier. Things aren't going to get easier. So my thought was, I need to start taking care of my body. I need to get it to the point where it is easier to maintain in a healthy state versus, trying to get in shape at the ripe old age of 50 or 60, because the older you get, the more set in your ways you will be. So I knew I needed to develop healthy habits to take me into my older age. And that's just where we are in life, okay? So those were my larger goals. Along the way, what happened is that I lost weight. That was a goal, yes, but that was a side quest, okay? Again, long-term goal, big goal was not aesthetics. That would be great, wanted that, but not the main goal, side quest. And we accomplished that. And so specifically, I want to share with you how I accomplished that because it might help, it might resonate if you yourself are trying to get there as well, okay? So there are a million different ways you can go about it. The path that I take and the path that I can consistently maintain is the path that is the easiest. Convenience is king. Okay, so back in February, when I started exercising daily for the endorphins, I also coupled it with a calorie deficit. Now, I did not get into the nitty gritty. I did not, overwhelm myself with details. I simply pulled back my portions. That's it. I didn't track a thing. I pulled back my portions. I stayed eating the same food. I stayed eating the same snacks. I just ate less of it. Then a couple of months in, I wanted to tighten it up a bit and actually see how many calories I was consuming. Couple of reasons. A, I do have a tendency to undereat, so I wanted to make sure it was an appropriate calorie deficit, basically. And then I was aiming more towards fueling my training sessions at the gym. This was about the time where I started seriously trying to challenge myself in the gym and like really lifting heavy. So I wanted to see how much protein I was taking in. So I tracked my calories. So I realized that I definitely was maintaining a calorie deficit, but I wanted to tighten it up. I wasn't quite in, that large of a deficit that I wanted. And my main goal was I wanted to make sure I was getting enough protein, right? Like I said, I wanted to fuel my training sessions at the gym. I didn't want them going to waste. Not that they really were, because remember, the larger goal is longevity health, right? So I didn't want to leave anything on the table. If I'm already here doing the work, I don't want to leave any extra shit on the table. I want all the gains. I want all the benefits, okay? So we Google a TDE calculator, okay? And you're going to fill it out honestly. And then it's going to tell you how many calories you need to eat on a daily basis to maintain your current weight. Okay, so then we need to have a deficit, right? I realized that my deficit wasn't that much. I was probably eating in about a 10 to 15% deficit. There's a sweet spot. We are not going to bring a 1,200 calorie diet into 2026. I'm not about that shit, homie. Okay, you have to eat. You have to eat. Yes, I know we want to lose weight, but you have to eat, and you can do it healthfully. Okay, so that sweet spot is about a 20 to 25% calorie deficit. It was for me, okay? Prefacing this is what worked for me. So specifically, let's talk about it. For example, I put in my results from the TDE calculator, which was 1,875 calories. I wrote this down, so that's what I'm looking at. That was for, I think, moderate exercise because I go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week. Yeah. And so those are specific to me. You need to do this yourself. You need to go to the calculator and you need to put in your own information and then you will get your own number back out. Okay. Mine was 1,875 calories. Okay. So then I take that number and go to my calculator and I subtract 20% from it. Okay. 20% from 1,875 calories leaves me with 1,500. 1,500 calories a day is my goal. That's for 20%. Then I go back to my calculator and I put in the number again, 1,875 calories, the number that I got from the TDE calculator, and I subtract 25%. Okay, that number for me is 1,406. So my daily goal is between 1,500 and 1,400 calories, 20 to 25%. That's the sweet spot. Now, the beautiful thing about having a range is that is more conducive to life, right? Another thing that I want to touch on is tracking your data. Something that I do every day, maybe every other day, is I weigh myself. And I know, hear me out. I know us ladies can have a tumultuous relationship with the scale. I get it. I was there. But I want to encourage you to look at it as sheer data, okay? We are just tracking a system. That's it. This number is not you. It does not define you. Yes, I know it is what we weigh. But the only way to tweak a system is to track the data and know what's happening. Otherwise, you're just like throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks. Come on. You deserve better than that. You deserve accuracy. So if we weigh ourselves every day or consistently, once every 2 days, once every 3 days, as often as you can manage, and be honest with yourself. Okay, if you track the data, this will give you exact information so you can tweak the system for results. Okay. Also, the more you look at it, the easier it is for you to desensitize yourself to that number on the scale. It's just a number. It's just a number, homie. That's it. It doesn't define you. It is not you. It's just a number. So if you track your weight and you are, let's say, 4 weeks into it and you've lost maybe 3 pounds. Okay. That's something. That's not nothing. You're also, remember, let's go back to point 1. We are getting the daily endorphins and we are getting our longevity health. So it's not that it's not working. You just haven't seen the side mission kick in yet, right? Remember, we got to aim for a larger goal because I promise you, if your main goal is weight loss, if your main goal is aesthetics, it's going to fail you. It's going to fail you because there will be times where you won't see one budge on the aesthetic side. And if your goal is, if you're 4, 5, 6 weeks into it, and you're still not seeing you get anywhere near that goal, it's going to set you up for failure. You want to know something wild? This always blows my mind when I share this. I just can't believe it. When I started exercising in February, I was going like 5 days a week, okay? And like I said, I had pulled my portions back, so I was coupling it with a calorie deficit. When I started doing this, and I was consistent, and have been consistent, do you know that I did not see results until 4 months in? Literally see. Now, yes, I was getting my endorphins, okay? This is what kept me going because I got those off riff immediately. Was getting what I came for, okay? Also, I knew I was building healthy habits for the longevity goal, okay? Longevity health. That was my other large goal. 4 months in. Now, I lost an initial like maybe 3 to 6 pounds. That always happens when I start exercising, and I think probably has something to do with water weight. Don't really know. But I usually lose an initial 3 to 6 pounds when I start exercising. Okay. So I did lose that initial 3 to 6 pounds, but 4 months in, and I'm only down 6 pounds. Hand to God, if my goal had not been endorphins and overall health, I would have quit. I would have quit because I would have been like, fuck it. I'm starving. I'm, putting all this work in at the gym and I'm still fat. And that just wasn't the case because my goal was not aesthetics. Side mission. As an aside, maybe we get it, maybe we don't. Maybe it takes a lot longer. Maybe it's a slow go over a course of several years. Whatever. Main goal. Endorphins and health. And because I was feeling traction on the endorphins and because I was building healthier habits, that kept me going. At month 4, I kid you not, 2 pounds a week, 1 pound a week, 1.5 pounds a week. It was literally, this is why I weighed all the time, because I can see the trend. It was literally like my body just decided, oh, she's serious. Okay. Just started dropping the weight. I didn't change anything. I did tighten up my calories. Like when I realized my calorie deficit was not as low as what I actually wanted, I did tighten it up by only a smidge, but same foods, same exercise routine. I don't know the science behind it. I'm sure some science guru out there can explain to you why it takes time to see results. Glycogen storage is yada, yada, yada. I don't know. I'm just saying that consistency is what did it. Maintaining a consistent calorie deficit is what did it. And if my goal had been aesthetics, I would have quit before we even got to that point. Okay. And here we are, 10, 11 months later, and I'm over 50 pounds down and no intentions of ever stopping because I put in place a system that is maintainable for a lifestyle. Okay. So make your goal. For the love of God, don't make it an aesthetic goal. Okay. Set your goals. Secondly, make a calorie deficit. Customize it to you based off of the TDE calculator. Thirdly, don't overcomplicate it. Convenience is king. If you can't afford a gym right now, start walking. If you need something cheap, like a Planet Fitness membership, do that. I will tell you though, the closer your gym is to you or the more convenient it is for you, the more success you will have in making it there. I promise you, hand to God. Pick the gym that is the most convenient, not the fanciest, not the coolest, not the whatever. It has to be the most convenient. So if you are debating or if you are gym shopping, the number one thing I would put at the top of my list is convenience. Okay, so let's talk a couple of tips. Some specifics here. I know this video is getting a little long and you can put this on 2 times speed or 1.5 times speed, whatever makes it easier for you to digest. But there's a couple of tips that I want to talk through with you because these really made a difference for me. First thing, we talked about weighing consistently. Okay, this is a habit that you're going to have to put in place. It's a new habit. I want to tell you, developing a new habit is difficult. Okay, I'm 37 years old. This is something that I have learned by now. There is one method that I have found that works for me when incorporating a new habit into my routine, and that is called habit stacking. Don't worry, it is not difficult and is not overcomplicated. You're never going to get that here from me, okay? Keep it simple, rinse and repeat. That is my motto. If I'm going to do it daily, if I'm going to rinse and repeat this bitch, she's going to be simple, okay? Habit stacking. If you need to get into the habit of weighing, let's say you don't weigh often and this is like a problem, you keep forgetting. Habit stacking is the most effective way to incorporate a new habit. What habit do you already have that you can put another habit right next to it? For example, I take a daily fiber supplement. Just realized how grainy that makes me sound. Whatever, dog. Longevity health, okay? I take a daily fiber supplement. I often forget. How do I keep that consistently into my routine? What do I do every morning? I have a cup of coffee. Every morning, I have a cup of coffee without fail. So I took the fiber, it's these little to-go packets, and I put it in a cup next to my coffee pot. And you know what? Every morning, I put a stick of fiber into my coffee. Super simple. I put a habit with another habit that I currently have, and we just rinse and repeat. That is how you create a new habit. Stack those habits. Every morning I wake up, I go directly to the restroom, I weigh myself, and I come get a cup of coffee. Top 3 habits of the morning. If I have another habit I need to put in there, I add it in with that. So what do you do? At the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, are there certain habits you have? That is my top tip for developing the habit of weighing if that's something you struggle with. Okay, another tip that I want to talk about. When we are talking about tracking our calories, something that I continuously talk about here that I have mentioned is rinse and repeat. Super simple. So tracking calories can be cumbersome. It can be a lot, especially if you're just starting out and you're mentally overwhelmed. I totally understand. If you eat the same foods, it will be easier. Listen, I like variety as much as the next girl, but there are certain places in my life where I want variety and where I will sacrifice variety for convenience. Again, convenience is king. Okay. So when it comes to food, I'm willing to sacrifice variety to conveniently track it or not track it. Here's what I mean. I have a certain set of foods that I eat. I have 1 or 2 things that I will eat for breakfast, 1 or 2 things that I'll eat for snack, 1 or 2 things that I'll eat for lunch, and 1 of 5 things that I'll eat for dinner. Okay. These things will be on repeat throughout the week. Repeat stars. They are what they are. It's the same foods, so I know the calories and I track the calories. That's how I know they're the same calories. But if I eat the same foods on repeat, I won't have to track them every day. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? So if I eat these same foods, if I eat the same breakfast, the same snack, and the same lunch every day, or most of the days, then I don't have to track them because I know how much they are. Same for dinner. It's the same dinners in a week. I'm not eating the same dinner every night. I eat the same breakfast every day. I eat the same snack every day. Lunch will vary. I have like a safe lunch that I eat if I'm not feeling the leftovers from the dinner the night before. I'll do like a eat in a day with me, what I eat in a day, like specifically, if that helps. Anyway, my top tip is if you can manage to rinse and repeat the same meals, it's going to make tracking a hell of a lot more easier. You won't have to do it. Does that make sense? So track it the first few times just to know you're hitting your goal. And then you know you can rinse and repeat that day and you're hitting the goal again. Okay. On the same note of calorie counting, I want to talk to you about a method of calorie counting that at first might seem intimidating, but it's very helpful, especially for just like, bro, it's life, right? It happens. Okay. So I want to introduce to you the idea of weekly calorie deficit versus a daily calorie deficit. So if my calorie range is 1,500 to 1,400 a day, then that means on a weekly basis in 7 days, I will be consuming between 10,000 to 9,000, 9 to 10,000. There's some numbers I'm not rounding up or down in there. Okay. So on a weekly basis, my calorie range is going to be between 9 and 10,000 calories a week. There's going to be days where you are not going to be able to stay on your daily calorie deficit. Birthday parties, weekend splurges, things like that. Okay. Now, this is not a license to like go ruin all your progress every weekend. It's really not. I can tell you though, as a mom, and we have like, a whole household here, weekends are more calorie splurgent. Like everyone's home. We might go get a pizza. We might go get ice cream, whatever. I am not trying to miss out on life just because I'm in a calorie deficit. I can plan for it though, or I can make up for it. So, for example, if we decide that, okay, Fridays usually is when we go get pizza. All right. So, if I'm going to be having a slice of pizza, which is probably about 1,400 calories, that's a lot for a slice of pizza. Just depends on where your pizza is coming from. Anyway, so if you're going to be going over calories on one day of this week, you can pull some of those calories from some days throughout your week. So, or one day. Okay. So it really just depends on what you feel like you can do. You can take 300 calories from a day and stack that onto Friday, if that's when your splurge is going to be. You can take another 200 from another day and stack that onto Friday. I would not recommend lowering your calories on like a back-to-back basis. For example, if I have 1,400 calories to spend in a day, if I pull off 300 calories of that, that's 1,100 calories for that day. That's hard. That's especially hard if you try to do that back-to-back. Okay? Let's not try to do that. Up to you, but I don't feel good when I eat that low back-to-back. I can separate it out though. I can hit 1,100 for one day, 1,400 for the next day, and maybe 1,100 for the next day. But then the key is that I take those calories that I saved and I put them on Friday. Okay? You have to eat them. Again, we are not pulling in the 1,100 or 1,200 calorie diet into 2026. Your body won't like it, I promise you. We are far beyond that, okay? We've learned, we've grown. Trust me, I've been there. So this is helpful if you have things coming up, the holidays, the birthdays, the whatevers, and you still want to meet your calorie deficit, but you want to partake. So you can pull calories from other days and put them on that day. This is a weekly calorie deficit versus a daily calorie deficit. I do recommend you getting used to a daily calorie deficit first and then do the weekly version. Okay. If you are doing a weekly calorie deficit, you need to track. You definitely need to track it because it can get confusing and you'll get lost in how many calories you have left to spend that day. You can do all of this without a program. You can do all of this without a supplement. MyFitnessPal is free. Google is free. You do not need to buy someone's program. You do not need to buy someone's supplement. I lost over 50 pounds. The only thing I bought was a gym membership. Don't overcomplicate it. Okay. Last thing I want to talk to you about is food placement. This is my final tip for this video. It has gone on way too long. Okay, so what I mean by food placement is what time of the day to eat, okay? So you can eat at any point in time of the day that you want, but there is something that I want to discuss with you when you are on a calorie deficit, and that is, let me hold your hand when I say this, bestie. When you are on a calorie deficit, you are going to be hungry. I know. You're going to be hungry. That's just the facts. I know we've had so much shit shoved in our faces about listen to your body. You shouldn't be hungry. This, that, yada, yada, yada. But actually, the truth is your body is used to a certain amount of calories. When you reduce those calories, I promise you, you will be hungry. You'll get used to it. You'll learn what hunger cues feel like. And you'll also start to differentiate between hunger, thirst, etc. But I promise you, you will be hungry. Okay, so let's talk about listening to our body and how we can minimize the hunger feeling. Okay, what we don't want is a depleted feeling, slightly faintish feeling. fatigue, things like that. Okay. This means we're in too much of a calorie deficit. But if you are sticking between the 20 to 25% calorie deficit range, you shouldn't be getting dizzy. You shouldn't be getting nauseous. You shouldn't be extremely tired and lethargic and fatigued. Like, yeah, you're going to be tired. Yeah, you're going to be hungry. You're just starting exercising and you're not fueling your body. Food is fuel. You're not giving it excess fuel. What we want it to do is burn what's in there, the fat, as fuel. So yeah, you're going to feel a little tired. Okay, homie? Like, you're going to be hungry and you're going to be tired. Don't worry. You're supposed to. So let's talk food placement, because this has helped me a lot on a calorie deficit. Maybe you can do training sessions on an empty stomach. Some people do it fasted. Don't know how. I never can. It's not worth it to me. I don't like the fainty feeling. I like to feel strong in my gym sessions. I like to feel like I'm kicking butt and like I can move the weight. If I feel hungry, if I feel faintish, girlfriend, it's not happening. It will not be motivating for me to get back into that gym. Okay? Ain't gonna happen. Before training, before going to the gym, I consume probably 60 to 75% of my calories for the day. I'll save maybe 350, 400 calories for dinner. That's it. I eat the rest of my calories before I go to the gym, because dinner is just before bed. Do I need excess energy going to bed? No, I don't. Also, I can handle dinner being my smallest meal of the day because I'm about to go to bed. If I'm hungry going to bed, bitch, we just gonna sleep through that. But if I'm hungry during the day, when I have shit to do and I have kids hollering at me because they need me to do XYZ, and I have responsibilities piling up, and I have work, and I have husband, like, bitch, give me some damn food. I need to get through this day. Do you know what I mean? So if there's any point of the day where I can tolerate being hungry, it's going to be going to bed. So I have learned that fueling myself up before my training sessions, before going to the gym, is where I'm going to put the bulk of my calories. That works best for me. I eat most of my calories before I get to the gym. And then after that, I have maybe 350, 400 calories to spend for dinner. That works. That works. And maybe it can work for you too, but just know that you need to fuel yourself properly before your training sessions at the gym. My recommendation. And you don't need a whole lot of energy going to bed. Food is fuel. We don't need a whole lot of fuel getting to bed. So however you want to work that, you can put however many calories you need throughout your day. You can put them wherever you need. Placing them mindfully can help with hunger. And this is how I did it. This is how I will continue to do it until I reach my goal. I have a certain goal, a certain body fat percentage that I'm aiming for. And once I get there, then we'll get there and reassess our goals. And I've been successful thus far. It's worked. And it will continue to work because it's a system, and I'm gathering the data and I'm tweaking the system. But the only way it worked was through consistency. Not stopping and starting again, not ruining it on the weekends with alcohol and excess, being consistent, making it a lifestyle, because I deserved better. I deserve better, and so do you. Stack your habits, stay consistent, because I promise you, motivation might get you in the door, but she is a bitch and she will leave you. On the days when you need her the most, she will be nowhere around, and the only thing you have to fall back on is your habits. Your habits are going to be what get you through the dark times, the hard times. You deserve consistency. You deserve healthy. You deserve strong. You deserve accuracy. So I hope this helps you. This is it. These are my specifics. Take them with a grain of salt. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you want to see what I eat in the day with me, like specifically throughout the day, I can take you on that journey. It is quite boring because, like I said, it's rinse and repeat, but If you want it, if it helps, because you need ideas, that's fine. Let me know in the comments. But that's it for me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Love you. Bye.